Hi there, Pt.1 again. In this episode of Time to Perk, we're going to get some specifications and performance stats on the Honey Stove. Now, this is a multi-purpose, multi-configurable, very versatile multi-fuel stove. It's really designed to use either small sticks and twigs, wood, fuel, or an Esbit tablet, or even a standard commercial Trangia alcohol burner, or a do-it-yourself burner too. The stove itself packs light and flat into about a 6x7 inch nylon pouch with Velcro. It comes with a very detailed instruction book to tell you all the different ways it can be configured. We won't get into all of those, but I do want to hit a couple. So we'll pull this out. And the first thing you'll notice is you have a bunch of little pieces of stainless steel. They're very thin, and the whole system is a little dense, but it's not that heavy considering what you get. And as you'll see in a minute, you don't have to carry all of this all the time. You only need to carry the different bits that make or configure the stove that you want on that particular outing. So we're going to take a look at a couple things here. You'll see it has 5 sides and a door, access door panel, and this creates the biggest of the stoves, the full-size stove, and you can see here's the floor for that. And basically you make a hexagon with a door, and of course the door would be for adding small sticks and twigs to start a fire. This is raised, this is raised off the ground and provides aeration for the burning fuel. This is an adapter for the Trangia, and we'll get into its configuration soon. Fits right in there. And then a small floor for the miniature stove. And this is what we're going to use today, I believe. And it comes also with a grill, and this is a stainless steel food grade grill. And apparently you can either use this to make, you actually use it on an open flame as a grill for fish or burgers or whatever you happen to be doing, although I believe that would probably get a little messy. But it has some other uses that we might get into here. Okay, I've put away the pieces I don't need because we're going to start off with what they call the pocket stove. Now, out of the pieces of the larger stove, all you need is the 3 sides, the door, and a small floor. And these interlocking pieces simply go together here quite easily. And once you get the 3 sides put together, just insert the floor. Now there is a front to this piece, and side, 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 and the flat long section, that's your door. So we're going to put that in the bottom rung. It makes a square, a little trapezoidal square, but it's still mostly that. And then we slide the door on. And once all 4 pieces are put together, it's actually pretty stable. It doesn't want to come apart. Now we don't have the stove in there yet, but this, I wanted to show you the configuration. You can put this floor in any of the different levels here, so you can adjust the burner height, which I think is a great idea. It has little holes in the side that you can place pins or coat hanger wire, stainless steel would be best, rods across there to support things, and you can do that in the small or the large configuration. Now for the Trangia stove, which we're going to use today, you don't necessarily need a floor at all. So we can actually, if you're just going to use a Trangia in the field, you don't need this little guy. So I'm going to put that to the side. So now we're just down to 4 pieces, 4 little pieces. And the rim of the Trangia fits very nicely in the slots on the side of each of these walls. So we're going to put the Trangia about in the middle section, and we're going to lock it in place with the door. And although it's a little bit wobbly because there's no floor, there's no way that oven or the stove is going to be coming out. The middle position, as you can see on the middle of these slots, gives a burner height of about 2 inches between the top of the Trangia and the bottom of the pot. Now that's a 1/4 inch longer than the previous several tests I've run at 1 3/4 inches being that sweet spot. Okay, we've got a good blossom here, so we're going to put the pot on and start the timer. I'll make sure that's centered. Okay, here's a close-up of the burn and where the flame is hitting the pot. You can see that the stove itself is acting somewhat as a chimney as well as a windbreak. I guess if you were using wood for this little tiny stove, and I don't see why you couldn't, you can still use the door here, and of course with the floor installed, keep the fire going. I'm noticing a lot of similarities with this flame. Its performance right now, just by looking at the flame, looks very similar to what I achieved with the hardware cloth stand and the aluminum foil shroud. I'm very interested to see how this turns out. We're also starting to see a little growth in the flame. I think that's because of the Trangia stove being heated a little more with this reflective surface all around it from the stove itself. We've got an increased flame now, and it's licking up the sides just a little bit, but the flame still seems to be pretty centered right in the middle of the pot. Again, our perk criteria is to see a consistent perk twice in a row with the water touching the top of the window here. And we're starting to perk. There's one, there's two, okay, I'll call that. That's 5 minutes and 18 seconds. I was actually hoping for a little more. I'm going to leave that on there for just a second, because I do want to show you this. Although you can take the pot off and drop this simmer ring in, I don't think it's really a possibility to get it in the side. I'm going to try. Nope, no chance. I would have to take the pot off. Here. Now let's try dropping the simmer ring down as if I would really perk some coffee. Nope, and it put out my flame. Well, that's disappointing. Let's see if we can get that started again. Alright. Simmer ring's on there. You can't really adjust it. So we can get it back perking. Okay, well that would work. Okay, with the simmer ring installed, we have a little bit of flame. We have a constant slow perk, which is great for making coffee. Our time, 5 minutes and 18 seconds. Although that's not the fastest I've found, it does do pretty well. That time beats the reversed Westwind by several seconds. I think the reversed Westwind was 5 minutes 27. That one was 5:18, give or take, maybe 5:15. And considering the difference in stoves, I would compare this configuration closely to the reverse Westwind, which of course doesn't work well with this pot. Okay, we're going to rerun that test, but this time with 32 ounces of water in the pot. Again, we're all cooled off to room temperature, 70 degrees ambient, tap water. Got a blossom. Now while that's running, to recap, the 16-ounce test, this stove has performed brilliantly, really. It packs flat, it's very light, it's only 4 pieces as a minimum for the Trangia stove. And as we found out, it's faster than the standard Westwind. It's faster than the modified Westwind, and it's even faster than the upside down Westwind. That doesn't work very well with this pot because of the distance of the feet. It's faster than the 3-nail stove, and even the 3-nail stove with the windscreen reflector. So I'm actually very impressed so far. I think a lot has to do with the fact that it has a lot of flame height. It acts as a reflector itself. The reflective stainless steel inside here, and kind of has a chimney effect and keeps all that heat in a column and transfers it to the pot more efficiently. Alright, starting to perk. Waiting for 2 good consistent perks. I do see water. There's 1, there's 2. Okay, we'll call that 8 minutes and 26 seconds. I tell you, this little guy is mighty impressive. Flames shooting up like crazy. We did get a lot of flame along the side of the pot this time, a little bit more than we did before. And I'm going to try this again. I'm going to move the burner down to the lowest position, lowest slot position, and that's going to increase the flame height, and hopefully that's going to keep it from mushrooming out so much. Okay, while I'm waiting for this to cool down and reset, I'm going to get some quick weights. This is the disassembled modified Westwind stove, and I've removed a lot of material here and put a lightning hole in. So it's not exactly apples to apples from stock standard. Let's just get a weight on this. I'm showing 2.3 ounces. Alright, that's for the Westwind modified. Now this is for the 4 panels, minimum configuration for what we just ran. And the door, that's a little bit heavier, I think. 5.16 ounces. Now that's not too shabby. I mean, really, it's not. I mean, considering it packs just as flat, footprints slightly less. It's really not that much different. And its performance, like I said, is much faster than either the standard or the modified right side up, and it's even faster than the upside down. So from a performance standpoint, boy, this thing gets really good grade. Okay, we've reset for a 16-ounce water Perk test again, except now we've moved the Trangia stove to the lowest rung. You can see it just touches the bottom lip of the door, and the lips here all the way around. And these are, by the way, 1 inch apart. Gives you a lot of configurable options there. Get my lighter to work. Okay, we'll get a Blossom here and start her up. There's Blossom. Alright, we're going to put our 16 ounces on, start our clock, and see if this burner position made any difference. Okay, we just started, only 22 seconds in. You can see the top of the flame is just licking the bottom of the pot. This should be a 3-inch burner height. Since we lowered it 1 rung, that would be 1 inch. We had 2 inches before, and now 3 inches. I noticed that the burner started off pretty slow this time. It's starting to pick up now finally at 45 seconds, so I wouldn't be surprised if that affects the time a little bit. And we're starting to perk. There's 1, 2. Alright, 5 minutes and 54 seconds is our time. Well, we lost some efficiency in that run. I'm not sure if that's because of the slow start of the burner or not, but let's see, since it's lower here, if we can get we can get the simmering in, and I'm pretty confident that if I had opened that a little bit, I could have easily put that on there to move it down to a simmer. Now we did lose some efficiency, obviously, but you did gain the access to the simmer ring and its use, which would make it easier overall to brew some coffee or cook on that little stove.